All right, let's jump right in. We usually think of retirement as, the end of the road, the finish line. But what if it's not? What if it's actually the starting line for something totally new? We're going to look at the story of a 61-year-old former CFO who discovered that shutting down his work computer for good, well, that wasn't an ending. It was a launch pad.
And these are his own words, which really says it all. This one simple idea that retirement can be a beginning is the heart of this entire story. It's such a powerful way to reframe things, and it really sets the stage for a pretty amazing transformation.
So, how did this whole journey even start?
Well, it wasn't with a big celebration. It was actually with this quiet, kind of empty feeling. After years of serious burnout, our guy's retirement in 2023 was surprisingly a total non-event.
I mean, can you imagine that? You spend decades building someone else's company, and your career ends with a simple click. Your remote access is just gone. No retirement party, no big send-off, just silence. And that silence left what he calls a familiar void. It was this deep restlessness that basically screamed at him, hey, you're not done building things yet.
And look, this wasn't his first rodeo when it came to reinventing himself. He'd been a successful entrepreneur before, back in '98. But then the 2008 recession hit and wiped out his business. The silver lining, though, that was the same year he met his wife, Shari. So that mix of incredible loss and incredible gain really planted a seed, a desire to one day get back in the game and build something for himself again. So now, with all this new free time, he started wrestling with those big what-if questions that haunt all of us. And for him, a huge one was his college experience. He'd always felt like he missed out, always joked about going back for a master's degree someday. And this right here is the turning point. This is where he went from just passively wishing to actively doing. 7 months into retirement, at 61 years old, someday finally became right now. He stopped talking about it and actually sent in the application to a top-tier program. And get this, the undergraduate GPA he had to dig up and submit, it was 40 years old. 40! Can you imagine having to put a 4-decade-old report card on the line? It was like he had to literally confront his past to have a shot at building a totally new future.
So, he gets in, which is amazing. But the real challenge was just getting started. He had to switch gears from being this seasoned CFO back to being a student. And let's just say the academic world had changed, just a little bit since the 1980s. Right out of the gate, because of that 40-year-old GPA, they put him on academic probation. Talk about a hurdle. But instead of letting it get to him, he just got fired up. He dove into the work, hit the books hard, and by the end of that first semester, he earned straight A's. And just like that, probation was lifted. Boom, first victory secured. And the challenges just kept coming. I mean, everything was online, which was a massive change. He had to figure out group projects with students young enough to be his kids, and he even joked with a professor that in his old life, he could have just fired the slackers. And while he was tackling all this, he also took on a personal health goal, getting into the best shape he'd been in for decades. A total life overhaul. You know what happens when you create that much discipline and structure for yourself? When you're learning again and pushing your limits? It creates the perfect space for a big idea to finally break through. And the idea that emerged from all this hard work gave him a brand new identity. He called it the Retirepreneur. It's more than just a clever name, it's a whole philosophy. It's for anyone who wants to pivot from their main career to start something new, something they're passionate about, that gives them purpose, and yeah, financial security too. And he didn't just sit on this idea. He took action. He ran the name by a marketing friend who loved it. Then he found out the domain name was for sale and he snagged it. And then he went and got it trademarked. He was turning this concept into a real, tangible asset step by step. So as part of his master's program, they encouraged him to enter his new idea into business plan competitions. This was a huge deal because it meant he had to face his single biggest fear: public speaking. I love this quote because it's just so honest and raw. He had total confidence in the idea, but he was absolutely terrified of pitching it.
I mean, his own brother told him he looked like a hostage in his practice videos. It really shows you how much of a leap this was for him.
But despite that crippling fear, look what happened. He won a $5,000 grant. He beat out dozens of other teams to become a semifinalist in a huge competition. And even though he didn't take home the top prize, they created a special entrepreneurial spirit award just for him. The validation was just pouring in. Okay, now check this out. On April 16th, 2024, right after he got into the program, he wrote an email to his supporters. And in it, he shared this simple, humble little hope: to find one more great idea that wasn't about finance spreadsheets. Now fast forward to April 16th, 2025, exactly 1 year later, to the day. That's when he got the email telling him that his idea, Retirepreneur, was a semi-finalist. I mean, talk about a full circle moment. You can't write this stuff. From a simple hope to a celebrated idea in exactly 365 days. Incredible. You know, a friend of his really hit the nail on the head with this comment. The real win wasn't a cash prize. The real victory was just getting into the arena. It was conquering that fear of public speaking and earning the respect of his peers. He actually did it, while most of us just talk about doing it. So this story isn't over, not by a long shot. In fact, this is the part of the journey where he takes everything he's learned, his elixir, and starts building a platform to share it with the rest of the world. And he is not messing around. He's got a crystal clear roadmap for bringing Retirepreneur to life. We're talking official announcements, marketing campaigns, all leading up to the launch of the actual membership platform. The foundation is set. Now it's time to build the community around it. What makes this whole thing so inspiring is his honesty. He freely admits he still has the same fears and doubts as anybody else when he steps out of his comfort zone. The only difference, his commitment. Once he decides to do something, he is all in. That's a lesson we could all probably learn from. So his incredible journey really leaves us with a question for ourselves. He's living proof that retirement doesn't have to be the end of the story. It can be the start of a whole new exciting chapter, which really makes you stop and think, what will yours be?